smile when all you want to do is frown and cry. I know times is hard, but you still got to clean up your backyard.
Hi, welcome to the Ketriana Yvonne Variety Show, and I'm Ketriana Yvonne, and today I'm here with Dana Player, a student, a sixth grader student at the Trevor Day School, and we're celebrating youth, and she has a lot to tell about her summer, so I'm just going to go right into that. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you.
And what do you want to tell us about yourself and your summer?
So, this summer, I went to 3 different summer camps. One of them was sleepaway, 2 of them were day camp. And I went to the Writers Literary Coalition. At the...
the New York Writers Coalition has a summer youth program in Fort Greene Park, and she took part in that. And she's going to, later on in the show, she's going to share some of her work from that program. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, at my sleepaway camp, it was like... So I went for 3 weeks, and when I came back, I was starting to get ready for school. And at one of the day camps, it was an art camp. So, when I first got to camp, I was confused. So I ran into these 3, they looked like teenagers, but they were actually CWs that, they're sort of camper workers, like the step before becoming a counselor.
Okay.
So they brought me to the office, and the office told me what cabin I was going to be in. And I was in Elder Bay, but I was supposed to be in Rosewood, so. And then from there on out, everything just came together, and I learned my way around everywhere, so yeah.
And when you first was away from home in the city, and then you went to, where was the camp?
Massachusetts.
Okay, so that was a different environment, so.
Yeah, but I've
it.
been to sleepaway camp before, so.
Okay, so you adapted. So you can tell parents out there that it's okay, their kids will, be okay when they go away to camp. They'll adjust, right?
Yeah, because, you make a lot of friends since you stay with them for, 3 to 2 weeks.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I actually went to camp when I was a little girl to Connecticut, too. So I can understand. So how do you stay in touch with your friends? Do you use your phone? Do you write them?
Well, I got some of my friends' phone numbers, but not all of them had phones, so.
Okay. Well, maybe since you're a writer, you should write a letter. You ever think about that?
I wouldn't have their emails.
Was pen pals, and you could look forward to receiving mail, and then you can read it, you can look at it, you can see the person's handwriting, you can hold on to it, doesn't disappear in your phone. So that's my suggestion, okay? So, so then you went to some art camps, you said?
Well, the first summer camp that I went to was an art camp.
Okay. So you just had a lot of fun this summer.
Yeah.
So that makes you a lucky young girl. You got to go away to camp. You got to go to 3 art camps, a writing workshop with New York Writers Coalition. And that's, so we, I want to go right into you reading your stories with us today.
Okay.
Did you do that? Okay. This is Dana, and she's going to share what she wrote from the New York Writers Coalition program they had for youth in Fort Greene Park this summer.
Just waiting for it.
As she waits for her iPhone to load up, she's going to ponder upon my suggestion about writing actual letters. So.
Okay.
Okay. Here it goes. Dana.
So the first story is called Cupcake the Good Monster. One day Cupcake was walking and everyone started looking at him weirdly. He started to feel cautious He started to feel cautious of his surroundings, so he ran to his apartment and never came out until a little girl knocked on his door. She took his hand and walked him through the streets. Cupcake didn't feel so afraid anymore because this little girl made his day. The next story is a little bit longer.
So that's like a little bit of flash fiction. Okay. So, Cupcake and go ahead. You got the next one?
The next one is the big beach ball, which is a little bit longer. One day, me and my friend were at the pool. We relaxed and we started to feel a shake. But it stopped, so we decided to keep on relaxing. But then water started to splash everywhere and I heard screaming from a distance. And then I saw something round hurtling toward the pool. It was a gigantic beach ball and it came splashing in the water. People were running everywhere and it was like Godzilla had just attacked us. The next I know, I'm in a crowd of people that are pushing me away from my friend. The last time I saw her was that day.
Okay, thank you. And so, tell me, Dana, so did you just start writing this summer, or have you always, this is something that you've always done?
Well, I started taking classes this summer, but like throughout school, like since first or second grade, we started writing stories. And in fourth grade, we wrote these stories and we like made covers for them and dedications and.
Okay. So is that something that you're passionate about and you're going to continue as a writer as well as all the other things you're going to do?
I'm going to try to continue as a writer.
We don't try. We just make a decision and we do it. So, yeah, you just have to commit. Just one a day. Write every day. Even, I would just suggest you keep up, writing those letters to your friends. You would take my suggestion?
I don't have their, addresses.
Oh, well, you can text them on your phone and ask for their real address. Okay? Okay, so anyway, people, this is why technology has taken us so far away from the way things we used to be, that we're going to bring writing letters back, starting with Dana. And then she's going to have some real handwritten letters, the next time she's on the show, and she can tell us about that. So anyway, I just want to thank Dana for sharing her poetry and having so much fun this summer. I wish I could have gone to 3 camps and, art workshops and Writers Coalition, So you're a lucky young lady. Okay, and thank you very much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Enjoy your 6th grade.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm here with our next guest, Robert Gibbons. For some in the poetry world, you don't need an introduction. But for those who don't know who he is, this is Robert Gibbons from the Everglades that happens to be living in Brooklyn.
Right.
And he has a book called Close to the Tree that's been out for a while.
Yeah.
And Robert is like the person in poetry.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
When I met Robert in a workshop, the first thing I said, I kept saying, in 20 years, you'll be a household name like Langston Hughes.
Yeah. Oh,
I've
wow.
changed that to 10 years.
That's a great compliment.
So,
thank you.
And as the days go, maybe it'll be 5 years.
Oh.
But, anyways, I just want to let Robert share as much as he can and read some for us.
All right.
This is the book. And where can you find this book?
You can, the book can be purchased through 3 Rooms Press. It can be purchased on Amazon, or it can be purchased through me, So there are many ways to get the book.
Okay.
www.3roomspress.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so Robert, so you have done so many things
Yeah.
in the short time that I have known you.
Yeah.
You get picked for retreats. You went to Portugal. You're going to Africa.
Yeah.
You know, tell the people who you are.
I just had to find one thing in my life that my mom has always told us as kids that, you know, focus on one thing and be good at that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I was here, I was there, I was everywhere. You can't be at every party. So you know, as a child, we began to journal,
Mm-hmm.
and I lived in fantasy as a writer. But then when I moved to New York more than 14 years ago, we're in competition with so many people that say that they're writers. So we have to really focus and commit to one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love education. I love being an educator. I love traveling,
Mm-hmm.
but I love poetry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that I do know.
Yep.
And you're about to complete your MFA in
Yep.
poetry.
At City College, yes. This is my last semester, actually.
Yes, and I was there when you made the announcement.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of years ago that
Yeah.
you were taking that on, and now
Yeah.
you're about to finish.
Yeah.
And you know, you said you have to focus on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you say, oh, but Robert is at every open mic,
Well,
every party.
I've slowed down a little bit.
He
I've
sings.
slowed down a little
He
bit.
plays the drums. Okay. He does so many things. So I guess he kind of forgot that, you know, but poetry is definitely who he is at heart.
Yeah.
I, you know, have watched him do some people that I felt like he was in a trance and he was
Yeah.
this person. What's his name?
Oh, are you talking about the character Aaron Dupuis?
Yes.
And I worked in a museum
Mm-hmm.
in Washington, D.C. one summer as a part-time job. And in D.C., you know, they have these house museums where you go in and you have to interpret the space.
Right.
And so they always talked about this one person that was enslaved under Senator Henry Clay that lived up in the attic by the name of Aaron Dupuis.
Mm-hmm.
And he had no story, but he did live in this museum right on Lafayette Square with his wife Charlotte and their 2 kids in one little attic.
Wow.
And so I always felt like Aaron, Charlotte, and those 2 little kids needed a story because they were breathing human beings. So, and that's why when I had a chance to work in the Decatur House on Lafayette Square, I began to just feel his presence when I was there working. And although he was not a part of the script, because we had to tell people about Van Buren, we had to tell people about Stephen Decatur, we had to tell people about Andrew Jackson, but there was no script. There was no history written on Aaron Dupuis, and there was nothing left. And so it was almost like Aaron entered the script on his own. And so that's why every once in a while, I'll have a chance to, Aaron will come up in something.
Wow.
Yeah?
And for me, when he comes up, because I'm around Robert a lot in different poetry events,
Yeah.
and he's fantastic, and you're gonna witness that for yourself in a minute. But when I think you gave life to that character, and now that you shared that story, I'm so
Yeah.
happy because that might be a project for us. Because you definitely became that character.
Yeah.
He embodied you,
Yeah.
and his spirit was living through
Yes.
you.
I'm glad.
And that always stayed with me because I'm like, you know, it was almost like watching a like a seance. And
I
when
was
you would
amazed
finish, it was almost like, you know, like you coming out of a trance.
too. Yeah.
And as powerful as you are as a writer, I mean, he lives on.
He does.
And you
live
gave
on.
him a story.
He does.
And I'm not going to put you on the spot and say, do you have any of that with you?
I don't,
Okay,
unfortunately,
so,
but
yeah. But that's for a later time.
Yeah.
But I love him.
Me too.
And I thank you for bringing his life to
Yeah.
so that I could share. That is truly something to witness.
I haven't been to D.C. in a while. I haven't been to the Decatur House and see what they've done. That was a long time ago, you know, when they first started interpreting that that the slavery history in these museums, but they did know the names of the people.
Right.
But they said that, Aaron Dupree was brought to Washington, D.C. with Senator Henry Clay. He was his manservant.
Okay.
And being his manservant, Henry Clay would ask him to, do private things for him. Rub my back, take my shoes off, withdraw my pea pot. Those kinds of things is what a manservant had to do. And he had to be responsible for Henry Clay almost like a servant. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow. And I also know that, and when you write, your vocabulary and the you bring in a part of where you're from.
Yeah.
And you feel it. It's like the alligators, the language of the water,
Right.
the spiritual.
Yeah.
How did that all merge for you, or is that just?
Well, that's a great point. I was thinking about that as I waited for you earlier today because I always felt, Ketriana, that I was culturally deprived, meaning that growing up in South Florida, we didn't always receive the cultural relevance that we needed as people of color. And what I mean through that was education, things that culturally affirmed us growing up in South Florida, But I had a good mother, I had an educated mother who made sure, who taught for 38 years and who also made sure her children were exposed. And so she introduced me to Langston Hughes. She introduced me to Jawanza Kunjufu, And so those kinds of things I didn't have on a large scale. I couldn't go out to Harlem out up the street like I could do here, or go to a Afrocentric ball. But I had a mother that made sure that we read stuff that were culturally relevant. She wanted us to read the other stuff too, to give us that broad perspective. But she also wanted us to know who we are, and there are people like us that were doing very important things. And I used to feel like that. It's like, oh, we were so culturally deprived down here. But I change it. It does balance, because I think about growing up in Florida in the natural world. And everybody doesn't get that experience, to grow up in the Everglades, to be able to see an alligator, to be able to see a beautiful mallard, or to be able to witness the rise and fall of Lake Okeechobee. Those kinds of things they are important within themselves. And a lot of times people that grow up in the urban areas of New York, they don't have a chance to write poems about that.
Yeah. And most of the times when it comes to New York, everything is urban, gritty, grayish. Even like if you look at our subway, when it was remodeled, it's gray. It's I don't know, it's no light. Like, we need to have more light, but people try to make New York, I guess, I don't know, urban.
It is urban.
It's
urban, it's concrete and cement. I used to feel very, very intimidated by New York poets. And then I had to authenticate myself and say, my story is just as authentic too. Where I come from is just as authentic. So, and this is why I still write about the infinite atmosphere, the beauty.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, well, what else you want people to know? Because I just want to get to sharing your poetry.
Well, that's pretty much it.
It's so much about Robert. He is so well loved in New York. If you go to an open mic anywhere, name a couple. We do want to mention the Langston Hughes.
We want to mention
Collective. About a year ago. I2 Collective. About a year ago, there is the Langston Hughes house, and a lot of poets got together on the steps of a brownstone that is Langston Hughes owned, and raised.
You came.
Yes, I was there. We had a little medley on the steps.
We had a little medley on the steps.
Basically, it was like a fundraiser.
It was a fundraiser, and it finally opened up.
Up and running.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Doing well. They still need funds. Check it out. Look it up.
Renee Watson of
the
I2 Collective at the Langston Hughes House is open. They're having programming, and they just want to sustain it. And again, this goes back to, our community and
Right.
people that we hold up
Right.
as icons.
Yes.
His house had no business being closed down, but it was.
Yeah.
So now that it's back open, people in the literary community around the world should really support the Langston Hughes'
Right.
house.
And as far as my show, you know, I started with Poetry for Change. And
Yes.
that's about, that's a great example of the
Yeah.
power that we have as poets.
Yes.
Because initially, my idea was, you know, how do you use your voice for change?
That's
I mean,
right.
to talk about a problem is one thing,
Yeah.
but how do you use your voice to bring
Use your
impact
voice to change.
to make a difference? And it has made it, you
Right.
know, with powerful poets that are in New York City
That's right.
and from other places
Right.
as well.
Right.
They got together and they made it happen. And
They
that's an
did.
example of what our individual responsibility is as poets, as writers, as whatever you are.
Right.
You know, if you're an artist, your art speaks. You know, we have a lot of problems in the world,
Right.
but through your art, it does bring about change.
Right.
And I just, you know, want to.
And I think you're tapping on such a good point there, where we live in this type of mutilated world, as some poets describe it. I think Robert Pinsky says that. The Polish poet Adam Zagajewski says that he call it mutilated and dilapidated. But as poets and writers, we have the power to change all of that.
Right.
We have the power to speak out. And I think that this is a culturally relevant time for those kinds of things because of what's going on in the world, because we have floods in India and Africa and Florida and here and there and all these kinds of things. And then there's collapses and tyrannies and people are throwing, did you know they threw blue paint on the Wall Street Bull? I didn't know that. I knew they throw red paint on the Columbus statue, but blue paint on the Wall Street Bull.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have all of these things going on.
Well, yeah. I mean, when people speak out against things that, you know, if people really take, I mean, it's a lot of conflict as far as what's right. Is it right to remove statues? We're not going to get into that.
Exactly.
No, but we can get into that.
Yeah.
You know, people have to take a look and see, you know, don't judge people for their opinion. It's like they have come to the point where you have to speak out.
Yeah.
And if you don't see any action and people don't respect
Well,
what you're trying to make heard,
Right.
then, you know, not to say that it's right,
right.
but people take action.
They do.
You know.
And you know, D.C. is a place of statue worship. You know what I'm saying? I mean, statues are everywhere, and they are held in high esteem there. So there's a lot of that going on right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. We could touch on so many issues,
Right.
but I want to get to the poetry.
Okay. You
So
know what? I
do you
did something today that I usually don't do. I usually have a formal script already prepared, but I take a class at the Art Student League. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, and this teacher tends to keep me focused on the infinite atmosphere, and her name is Sylvia Kesey, and she's a German professor, and she will read from a German poet or Rilke or Spinoza, and she'll have us to write a prompt. She'll have us to write a piece about it. So she asked us to write about the river today. So I'm
Okay,
going to
that's
read what I wrote about the river. What matters is the river. The rivers are anthologized by poets. By Julio de Burgos, she called it brown and moving. Langston called it ancient and dusky, the river. I imagine the movement of a dancer, a Merce or a Martha, not a rehearsal for barters and bodies, the river. Alvin Ailey paying tribute to the Haitian king Hippolyte. A fast-moving river, tight estuaries, latitudinal with attitude, with constancy of a life giver. I imagine the river is a she. Her presence is named like monocracy and Mississippi Twain's. Her Terre Haute rises to an apex. Her breast is seismic as she lacerates Appalachia. She will have 46 abortions and 100 regurgitations, and She hiccups as she picks up where she becomes violated, and she pangs and sings her iambic pentameter. And she is so spoken word as the Maurice River. Her metrical mathematics, her stellar getaways with her mouth wide open. She is a grand dame with a grand name when she cuts through rock. I fall into the shock with her travelogue. Then I read her Lewis and Clark by keelboat. She is high water, shoals and shoulders and banks. When Maya said a rock, a tree, a river, the overemphasis with the parenthetical with her abolitionist geographies. Free me, river. In your mass of a liquid grave, so I may not objectify, so that I may not minimize, so that I may not call you just a symbol, a passage for the keeper, for the lover. Slow me down, river, with my southern drawl. Take me with you on your democracy and your character. River, oh river, deliverer of Shango and Oshun. I will give honey to you, Yemenya, with all these breaks and waterfalls. O river, O soul, O deliverer, praise be the river. Praise be the river, O soul, O earth. I want to be made, I want to be baptized in your deeper deep, and then I will peek beneath your skirt as regal as Jacques Cousteau. I want to sailboat you. I want to gloat on your waves, river. I want a riverboat ride. I want to tip that island with your archipelagos and your perpendicular, with your panhandles and insularity. I can't find the language for you, river. Just want to be managed, river. I can be your prostitute when I'm lost in your beauty. I want to ride that back, pleasure me, river, be religious, river, then baptize me, then wholly believe me, a sacred space for the natives, the cast of ashes, a tree, a rock, a river, a trinity but three, river me, just river me.
Okay.
The river.
River me. Wow.
So she asked,
The
what
prompt was-
matters is the river.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of where I went with it.
Especially with all this water that's flowing everywhere
Exactly,
right now. It's like,
exactly.
wow, it puts a whole different perspective
Yes.
on things.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that,
Thank
Robert.
you. All right.
I want you to
Go do more.
continue.
Okay,
Yes,
do a little
yes.
more.
So what do you
Okay, a
wanna
little
share with
more.
us next?
I'm trying to. I've been having this. Oh, what can I say? I've been taking several memoir classes, and one class that I'm taking with a local Columbia University professor by the name of Michelle Marriott. He's a great teacher, and he teaches a memoir class at African Voices, and definitely check out African Voices, www.africanvoices.org. Carolyn Butts over there is the head, and she does great things for Real Sisters,
Yes, yes,
and that's coming up in October.
Yes.
And anyway, I am a reader for poetry there, and Carolyn Butts always looks out for me when it comes to, taking workshops, and she always offers me the scholarship. And so this is a poetic memoir that I'm working on for Michelle's class. So I want to read just a little bit of it.
Okay.
All right? I don't know how much time we have, because I know you wanted me to sing a song and but again, I am Southern, and I love being Southern, and as a child, my grandmother was from Georgia. She was from Southern Georgia, right across the border from Tallahassee, in a little place called Bainbridge, and she would sing these songs, and I was like, my grandmother left her such a big legacy. I don't know how to incorporate some of these songs within my poetry, but this particular piece I tried to. So this is what I'm gonna do. So you'll hear me, interspersing some of this one particular song and it has to do with water too. So okay. There's a storm on the ocean, and it's moving my way. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, it will surely drift away. There's a storm on the ocean, and it's moving my way. If your soul is not anchored in Jesus, it will surely drift away. Brown pelican, what shall I tell them? Oil canvases the banks, the watercolors of butternut sand, the cypress weep in silence, the sea foam and aquamarine, talcum powder white, the flight of the yellow jacket. Brown pelican, Elizabeth Bishop worships your patience on Sanibel, Coral Gables, and Naples. Shall I tell them there are disasters in Alaska and California with tarballs and mudslides, crippling the mollusk? Snails and sea anemone, the sunset yellow, dolphin, kiwi, blue crabs, and lobsters are losing their pasture. Brown pelican. Oil and water is a dirty mix of lemon shark, pink carp, and turtles along Myrtle Beach. Drift away, drift away, drift away, drift away. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, it will surely drift away. I surely did drift away until I heard my mother's echo in my head. Robert, where is your journals? Why are you not writing? Where is your mind? So I sat down. I spoke with my mother this morning. I had not spoken to her since last week. My concern was Hurricane Irma. And all I knew is some picture I saw depicting her as a monster with eye and teeth. The hurricane had been personified by name and feature, Irma, a big hammerjack chopping down trees, etching the Caribbean green into small clouds. Roofs become schooners. The animals know how to disappear after the monsoon. Nature knows its evolution. The Appalachian Mountains beneath the waves of Florida, the sunken doubloons, submarines off the coast of Bermuda scoop up the deeper deep. There are 900 million species left unrecorded. We do not live on Earth alone. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, it will surely drift away. My Tar Beach feet chipped after a visit to Topanga Canyon, California, summer 2016. Brown pelican. In California, I walked into a puddle of tar. The physicians rubbed my feet in baby oil. The tar began to chip away, lost to reliquary, lost to elegy. The environmentalists had to rescue animals from the Pacific, had to wash their tar-covered bodies with dish detergent, had to wash my feet. Pieces of me chipped away like the nude crucifix covered by man-made, by peat and concrete, skyscrapers and tapers of buildings. The 900 million remain hidden in the kitchen of the earth. They do not come up for air. Their lair beneath ocean, beneath lake, beneath 1,000 glaciations. A drunken boat gloats. The air becomes crescendo when the levees broke a Mississippi goddam. Crams of fisheries and hatcheries, menageries of animals without territory, without cartographer. I will pray for those who have no control over their bodies. Home is homemade, not peat, not concrete, not construction with big lights. My home is midnight, the grinning moon, and soon I will be able to see in the dark. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, it will surely drift. Brown pelican. Last summer, I stood on Zuma Beach and imagined a Jackie Crawford movie set. Dr. Dre had already been stopped and frisked at his chateau on one of Hollywood's highest hills. Santa Barbara. On the corner of Ocean and Wilshire, there stood this woman erect as obelisk, her hand frisked as suffragette, but I will call her a lady. My sister, a girl, as she looks to the hills, the salmon pink carnations thrown at her feet. A holy believer, as I called to her, I called her Fatima. I called her Guadalupe. I called her the Lady of Malibu. I called her Harriet. I called her Sojourner. Her way was the only way out. If I wanted to be delivered, if I'm bold enough to face the sea in this possible moment. So come back to divine goodness. Grandma fed us until we were full. She will stay until the end with our broken bends. Weep for the sick and the shut in, for the soul to keep. Then look for the sunshine, the only lifeline. Santa Monica, it's Nice, it's Turkey, it's Louisiana, it's California, it's Alaska, it's Florida, it's India, it's Africa. All the world is your geography. The last day of obliquity. Santa Monica, I chant for you like Augustine. I confess from the book of Philippians, save me, Holy Mother of Blackness, as there will be none like this. I am still undone. Mold me until I am a holy son. If your soul's not anchored in I think I'll stop there.
That's
I
right.
think that's enough.
I'm getting ready to go far be a tamarine.
I think that's enough. I think that's good.
Thank you so much. And, I just wanted to break out and start.
Well, I
joining
gave
in.
you what you...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, I always say, I could go to church now, but I'm just not with the new songs,
Yeah.
but I have to go to a church in Brooklyn that has the old traditional songs.
Yes.
So I thank you for sharing, because, that is truly what gets to my spirit.
Yeah,
Other
me
stuff
too.
just doesn't work.
Yes.
So
yes.
I just felt like.
Thank you. And I'm just working on, the continuity of the piece and just really trying to connect to make the song relevant, not just to have a song in there.
Right.
To make the song relevant to what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
Thank you for giving me a chance to share this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time we have, but
I'm good. I think I think this was excellent.
okay. All right. So I want.
Left me, and that guitar that I used to hear in the church down south, and the drums. So I'm trying to work with that. But one song my grandma used to sing to me, she said, "Nobody but you, Lord. Nobody but you. Nobody but you, Lord. Nobody but you. When I was in trouble, you brought me over. Nobody but you, Lord. Nobody but you. Nobody but you, Lord. Nobody but you. Nobody but you, Lord. Nobody but you. I was in trouble. You brought me over. Nobody but you, Lord. Nobody but you. Wipe me clean, Lord. Nobody but you. Nobody but you. Nobody but you. When I was in trouble, you brought me over. Nobody but you. I am the afterbirth of my mother. A generation away from the slave bodies of Carolina over into Florida. I
Blow hard the hair, forward and fleurie. Don't confuse this with the classic side part comb-over. This is fleur-de-lis. Fold and blow the hair back into the side in the manner of the three, mauve, shemp, and curly. Sweep and blow the remaining hair to both sides. This maneuver anchors the edifice. Apply deozonizing amounts of hairspray. Voila, boardroom fabulous. Okay, Robert Gibbons.
I'll start this reading off with an epigraph from James Baldwin. Any writer, I suppose, feels that the world into which he was born is nothing less than a conspiracy against the cultivation of his talent, which attitude certainly has a great deal to support it. On the other hand, it is only because the world looks on his talent with such frightened indifference that the artist is compelled to make his talent important. Unarmed for Trayvon Martin. The children tell me on the way to school down the mean streets of the El Barrio, the police stopped them and checked for ID, but not for truancy. Because this is obvious, they are children with backpacks and pencil boxes. The street to school has become a trap, a stumbling block. Tell me the children
The ones with colorful sneakers and big hoodies and menaces, stealing from the bodega, are under constant surveillance. Tell me the children, the new generation of thugs, are being horse and buggies in the back of squad cars and vans with lights and sirens, the influence of loud sounds like the ambulance. Tell me the children, the ones without book and dictionary or eloquence or safe haven, are being exposed early to be afraid of the law, the onslaught of control. They are not told not to speak back or have the slightest intent. They are going down, they're face down in the cement, and they are hell-bent or not stopping in the way of life for many in this area, in this barricade. Tell me, the children underprivileged, because it would not happen 10 blocks away. The color of Lincoln. I wonder if President Lincoln hears the people beneath his pedestal, the man in metal and spike requesting his $25 refund. Need to mention the man eating with the pigeon, Lincoln, the father of Jacob and Isaac, leaving us destitute, leaving us forsaken. Lincoln, you're bound by cape and cloak around your neck. Hear your children whine on the playground, on the green line going uptown. Lincoln, the color of old worn out snow boots, the color of patina and cesspool mint. Do you hear them, Lincoln? Do you hear them? Do you hear me? Begat. Let those people go. Prayer, protest beyond the wailing wall, with the skins as olive as trees in Alexandria, in Cairo, Georgia, in Uzbekistan, and Iraq, Iran, as charcoal as the Mississippi Delta, as in Alabama tan. These metaphors are similes, these scriptures stricture as 400 years, baptism of King James. 1 million Egyptians want to part the Red Sea to connect the internet of humanity. Found a shoe in Central Park. Stepping out in history, this shoe digs, this shoe in trees, this shoe trees. This shoe is a dinosaur, this shoe has a flaw, this shoe is a fossil. Extract a fossil, hostile shoe. Attest this shoe, arrest this shoe, arrest this shoe, protest this shoe, molest this shoe. This shoe has feet, this shoe has feet, has a beat, iambic, text this shoe, test this shoe, Mary leaky, zingy, this shoe, wiki shoe, occupy this shoe, colonize this shoe, dehumanize, this shoe, hostile shoe, arrest this shoe, protest this shoe has lace, this shoe in cyberspace, strings attached, latch key this shoe, detach this shoe fly, a child shoe, a black shoe, a weary blue shoe. All God's children got shoe. Shoe me, sue me, believe me, bereave me, is show me. Shoe fly, cry this shoe, find this shoe, traveling shoes, unravel this shoe, a shoestring, a lost shoe, a false shoe, those shoe pauses, plausible, circumstantial evidence, it way back from slavery, from the colonies, from the Holland Tunnel, from a funnel cake this shoe, went Dutch this shoe, uptown this shoe, downgrade this shoe, observe this shoe on the Hudson, budget this shoe, not through issue, mission, miss you. I'll do. James Baldwin. Coming back to the blackboard like a primary teacher, coming back from the staid, the jade, the delivery, and the forgiving. I'm coming back from this decomposition in my composition notebook. I'm coming back, walking through notes and jots and the bloopers, coming back to a time living in a stupor, coming back. This is not enough. It is not enough where it appears my thoughts are a crowded church always in arrears. I'm coming back to this impulsive scene of the crime, coming back to the blues and the Harlem rhyme, coming back to the jazz bebop in July, coming back to a Nancy in the lullaby. And this is not enough. My table is full of literary ambition, can sometimes be cruel, but I'm coming back unto the day of my death, back until the language has left and the breath ceases. I have one more. Thank you. Sorry about this, I'm not that organized. This piece is dedicated to, if I could find it, I'm sorry. My final piece I'll dedicate to Sean Bell. It's entitled 50. Sean Bell. 50 stars, 50 stripes, 50 years of leads and pipes, 50 shots, 50 bullets, 50 cents, 50 hoodies, 50 times, 50 pleads, 50 boys, smoking weed, there's 50 cries, 50 punches, 50 ears, holding blunts, there's 50 churches, 50 blocks, 50 heads in dreadlocks, there's 50 graves, 50 states, 50 minds, just can't wait, there's 50 dimes, 50 checks, 50 children having sex, there's 50 mamas, 50 daddies, 50 streets, up Manhattan, there's 50 shots, 50 bullets, 50 tenements still in squalor, there's 50 schools, 50 books, 50 banks, 50 crooks, there's 50 stars, 50 states, 50 shots, 50 breaks. Thank you.
America by Langston Hughes. Little dark baby, little Jewish baby, little outcast. America is seeking the stars. America is seeking tomorrow. You are America. I am America. America, the dream. America, the vision. America, the star-seeking eye. Out of yesterday, the chains of slavery. Out of yesterday, the ghettos of Europe. Out of yesterday, the poverty and pain of the old, old world, the building and struggle of this new one, we come, you and I, seeking the stars. You and I, you of the blue eyes and the blonde hair, I of the dark eyes and the crinkly hair, you and I, offering hands, being brothers, being one, being America, you and I, who am I? You know me. I'm Crispus Attucks at the Boston Tea Party. Jimmy Jones in the ranks of the last black troops marching for democracy. I am Sojourner Truth, preaching and praying for the goodness of this wide, wide land. Today's black mothers bearing tomorrow's America. Who am I? You know me. Dream of my dreams. I am America. I am America seeking the stars. America, hoping and praying and fighting and dreaming and knowing there are stains on the beauty of my democracy. I want to be clean. I want to grovel no longer in the mire. I want to reach away after the stars. Who am I? I am the ghetto child. I am the dark baby. I am you and the blonde tomorrow, and yet I am my one soul self, America, seeking the stars. Langston Hughes.
In these evil and troubled times, it's really hard to see the sunshine. It's even harder to smile when all you want to do is frown and cry. but you still got to clean the overflow. Stop walking all around with your head hung down. Oh yeah. Stop walking around with your head all hung down and just stand up. Stand up. Or just stand on up. Stand up. Or just stand right up. Stand up. Or just stand on up. Hey, hold your head up high. Stop walking around with your head all hung down and just stand up. Stand up. Or just stand on up. Stand up. Or just stand right up. Stand up. Or just stand on up. Hey, hold your head up high and walk with pride.
Hello, I'm Robert Gibbons, and welcome to the Ketriana Yvonne Variety Show. It is a pleasure to be here, a part of this platform, and please check out the Ketriana Yvonne Variety Show the first Wednesday of every month at 5 p.m. Brooklyn Free Speech. Check your listing.